That we are live.
Hello, and welcome to the Catholic Answers Live Super Show. I am Cy Kellett, the host, or sometimes referred to as the Emperor of the Super Show, at least.
Or the king.
Or the
Or I
dictator.
refer to myself as the Emperor of the Super Show.
Or the dictator.
Dictator? No dictators, man. Edgar. I'll just say Lujano. I'm just going to give up on that old dumb joke now.
Well,
Edgardo Lujano.
Thank you. It's Edgar Lujano. Thank you very much. You know, it's funny.
Wait. Oh,
Go ahead.
Sorry. Erica
I don't
Talley.
matter.
Is she on the screen?
Hello.
Yeah, she's on the screen.
Okay.
She is.
All right. There she is.
And I'm standing.
You're standing to do the show?
I'm standing.
Are you walking
I
as
think
well or
better on
something?
my
or-
feet.
Do you really? You got one of those
think I do,
little,
actually.
what's
Yeah.
it called? What's that
Little-
thing called?
little-
Walking pad?
I can't remember.
Like treadmill walker thingies.
Hey, I like it. I have this new thing that I really like. I don't remember who introduced me to it, but it's called graphsaboutreligion.com. And it's this guy, Ryan Berg, who does it. And I never go a week without finding something I want to talk about on graphsaboutreligion.com, which I think is why it's getting super duper popular. So today,
Because of you.
no, it's not because of me. Yeah, because of
I thought that's what you were saying.
my promotion. No, because it's got good stuff every week, so it's becoming
Yeah.
super duper popular. And I want to just talk about one little graphic on here, which is about which religions watch which cable networks. And I thought it was fascinating to find out which religions watch which cable network. Edgar doesn't want to do this story?
I'm done.
Edgar, he's quitting. He quit. He just walked out.
Okay.
I'm right in the middle of
Rage
graphs
quit.
about religion.
Does not want to talk about cable
Oh,
news.
you needed a drink?
I need some water.
All right. He calls it water. Guess what he puts in those bottles?
We all know where he used to work. I'm never going to stop bringing it up.
Where
are you
did he
talking
used to
about?
work? Well, I don't know
Liquor
where.
store.
Oh, at the liquor store? That's only one of his jobs.
That was my very first job.
His best job was
Oh, I told you about that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Oops. Yep.
All right, can we
Yeah, ooh.
let's move on.
No, but yes, I read that, Sai. It's very interesting.
Did you look at the little chart? Cuz I'm going to
I did.
I'm going to
I
go
read
over
the
it.
whole thing.
I'm just looking for where he got the I know it's in here, but he got the information from something called the Cooperative Election Study. They did a study and they asked people, what have you watched in the last 24 hours? And I'm going to ignore ABC, CBS, and NBC because people watch those, but they're not watching the news. I just wanted to focus on the news ones. I don't care about ABC, CBS, NBC, for people who are watching SWAT or CSI or whatever people watch on those networks.
House.
How is House? That's not still on.
No, it's just a joke.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Oh, man, I was going to say. But it is funny. They bring these things back now that they have these streaming services.
Yep.
Dead TV shows are just coming back. I guess no TV show is dead anymore. All right, so let's ignore. I'm just going to ignore the ABC, CBS, NBC part of this. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, PBS, and other. Where do people get their news? And it's got several breakdowns, but I was interested in the one that broke it down by religion. All right, I'll just throw this out here. There, are you guys looking at it or not?
I'm looking at it.
Oh, dang it! I was going to say.
I already
all
remember
right,
everything I thought.
I'll ask our listeners, our intrepid listeners, white evangelical. Which do you think is the most popular? Which could be the most popular
Among-
cable network among white evangelicals? It's easy. Fox
For
News.
sure, CNN. No, just kidding.
60. Well, you know
Yeah,
what though? It's
definitely Fox News.
I'll tell you the truth. 62% of white evangelicals have seen Fox News in the last 24 hours. Because that's the question is, did you?
I will also ask, I'm sorry, because I've seen, I don't know if it was in this report or a different one, because then I started looking at Pew Research. What exactly is the difference between a white Protestant and a white evangelical? Because I was seeing those
About 100,000
two-
a year. Sorry, that was a terrible
Oh, like
answer.
income?
Yeah, I apologize.
That was such a boomer joke. I'm sorry.
Well, they don't have white Protestant on here, but they have black Protestant, which is it's so political, these categories. But
Yeah.
like a white Protestant is not the same. Here they call that person mainline. So you got like your Lutherans, most of your Methodists, your
Presbyterians.
your half the Presbyterians. I mean, I don't know how all these
Yeah,
these
that's
churches.
right.
Some of them are half one and half of the other. But I'm forgetting some of them. But so you got the Anglicans. That would be mainline. Okay. So that's different than evangelical. And
Right.
evangelical is more jumping up and down,
Right.
a little less liturgical.
Big screens.
So non-denominational?
Yeah, well, non-denominations would be white, but also would Baptists. I would assume Baptists would be under white
Right.
evangelical. That's
Well,
not a
and that's
mainline
kind of
church.
catch-all now, like especially in the South. A Baptist church, a non-denominational church in Texas is also Baptist. So
Also, Shawnovision guessed it.
It's
He
so
said
complicated.
Fox.
What?
He said Fox.
He said Fox?
Yeah.
He thought white evangelicals are watching a lot of Fox?
That's what he said.
What is wrong with you, dude? Of course it's Fox. 62% of white evangelicals have seen Fox News in the last 24 hours. What percent? Don't look, Erica. Look up. I'm watching your eyeballs. What percent of white evangelicals have seen CNN in the last 24 hours?
I don't even have the graph pulled up, so I don't know why I'm looking away.
Oh,
Neither do I. I just
Was it, I think, wait, ask the question again.
what
group?
percentage? That's all right. What percentage of white evangelicals have looked at
Oh.
CNN in the last 24 hours?
Maybe like 24%.
I would put it at about 15.
It's 20.
No
You guys
way.
are good. You guys are on each side of it. It says 20%, but all of them were in airports. No, I'm just kidding. That's not
Or
true.
gyms.
Yeah, they were in airports or gyms when they saw
Actually,
it.
that's the only time I ever watch the news is because it's literally put in front of me, and
Yeah.
I
A lot of airports aren't putting the news up anymore. I've noticed in my travels, they got other things going on those screens because everybody's on their phone anyways. If you want the news, go on your phone. But I think they're afraid it'll just cause a riot if they put the news on the TV.
At my
Probably.
gym, the furthest left screen is CNN, and the furthest right screen is Fox News.
That's
Say
exactly
it
how you
right
should
on
do that. That's exactly how you should do that. All right. Okay, how about this? Let's do Black Protestant. And it's interesting that the only thing that is divided out by race is Black Protestant. And I think that's because it's such a large, measurable group. You know, like Black Hindu, I don't know if there's that many, you know. So,
No, probably.
so this is a group divided. So what percentage of Black Protestants do you think looked at Fox News in the last 24 hours? You guys got to be quicker with your guesses. You know, there's nothing
9%.
riding on it. What?
9%.
31. I didn't even give you a chance.
yeah,
What were you going to say?
36.
Oh, you were going to be close. But what percentage of Black Protestants do you think looked at CNN in the last 24 hours?
It's got to be like 67%.
It's not that many either because their main, isn't it like MSNBC that typically, according to the research, Black Protestants watch?
Oh, well,
She read
it's
the
actually a
article
tie.
for me.
It's basically a
17%.
tie. MSNBC. Oh, no, you're right. No, you have it wrong. I'm sorry. I was getting it wrong. It's 53% have seen CNN, 46% have seen MSNBC. So it's
Okay.
it's pretty darn close. Pretty darn close one way or the other.
Keep doing that and we'll have a great clip.
Oh, well,
That
we
Hindu
do have another racial category. I didn't notice that we have another racial category. All right, white Catholics and non-white Catholics. All right, what do white Catholics watch? Fox or CNN more?
It's got to be Fox.
What do you think? White Catholics, Fox or CNN more?
I think it might be split down the middle.
It's actually 52% have seen Fox in the last 24 hours. 31% have seen CNN. And 23%. See, MSNBC is low on most of these, so I was kind of ignoring it. But
so
one of my favorite things is there's CNN, Fox, MSNBC, PBS, and other. And in many cases, other is higher than PBS. So, PBS is just killing it over there. There's nobody watching PBS. I mean,
No.
well, let's see.
I did when I watched Dragon Tales. That's about all.
There's one group that 29% of this group watches PBS for their news. 29% is the largest group watching PBS. You go, Buddhists.
Wow.
Buddhists. Who knew?
I mean,
Buddhists
PBS
love
is
PBS
chill.
news.
Buddhists are typically chill.
Yeah.
So
But it's only 2% more than watch Fox. 27% Buddhists watch Fox. Buddhists are, you know what it is? I don't think they turn the channel. They just, whatever's on, they just
yeah.
take a deep breath and they watch that.
Can I say I am shocked by the Hindu numbers? I was not expecting that.
Oh, okay. So Hindus. Okay, let's do Hindus. In the United States, this is not all over the world. Who do Hindus watch? Fox News, CNN, or MSNBC the most? Erica, go. Hindus, Fox, CNN, MSNBC. Go.
MSNBC.
But what do you say? Oh, you already saw it.
I was looking at it.
All right. So Hindus in the United States, of which there's more and more Hindus because we've had a lot of immigration from India.
Let me
over the
tell
last
you,
30, 40
driving
years.
driving up the Central Valley, I cannot tell you how
Especially in
many
Texas.
In Texas
Sikh
too?
shrines
Oh,
or whatever.
Sikh- oh, yeah?
Yeah, Sikh and Hindu.
Which is what, like when I was a kid, I don't think you saw very many Hindus in the United States. There were some, but I mean, I had two sisters in my class, but you know, that was out of hundreds of kids. All right, 64% of Hindus watch CNN in the last 24 hours. 34% have seen Fox News. Wait, am I doing this right? Yes, 34% have seen Fox News in the last 24 hours. 31% have seen MSNBC. All right, but this is the thing that I found interesting. I did find this. Oh, wait, I didn't finish non-white and white Catholics. So white Catholics, I'm just going to give you the breakdown. White Catholics are weird. I mean, not weird, but they seem to be very spread out. Basically, half of white Catholics, 52%, watch Fox News. 31% watch CNN, 20 MSNBC. So it's like half on the liberal side. I mean, I know some people have the fantasy like, oh, CNN is the middle of the road. No, it's not. Let's be honest. I mean, come on.
CNN is not the middle.
It's not middle of the road. If you're out there promoting transgenderism 24 hours a day, I mean, there was a time when they were barely doing an hour without devoting a quarter of it to transgender. That's not middle of the road.
You, sir, are not middle of the road.
You, sir. All right. All right, let's go to...
I do wonder, I guess it's the non-white Catholics who tend to vote Democrat, because when you look at Pew Research, it's like a little bit higher percentage. I think it's like 52% of Catholics in the U.S. vote Democrat.
Yeah, I think we've for a long time we've been 50-50. Although this is the thing that is very important about Catholics is Catholicism is both a cultural identity and a religious identity in the United States. And maybe that's the case in other places. So a lot of people were baptized Catholic, but they never go to church or anything. If you ask them on a survey, what's their religion? They say Catholic, because that's what they were baptized, or maybe they even got some schooling in it or went to First Communion, but they're not practicing Catholic. So Catholics that go in the church door, like the actual, like going to church each Sunday Catholics, are actually quite high in the pro-life vote. They just vote pro-life. A lot of them are, not all, but a large percentage of that is pro. So sometimes you can look at the Catholic statistics and go, well, Catholics are nothing. We're just 50-50 on everything. But there's a difference between the cultural and the practicing religious Catholic.
Right.
All right. Non-white Catholics prefer CNN, 49%, but it's not by much. 43% watch Fox and 33% watch MSNBC in the last 24 hours. So that's pretty. I mean, the difference between 49 and 43%. I mean, I'm not good at math, but I would say that's not a very high number. I mean, I don't know what the actual. Who could tell how many percentage points are between 49 and 43? But it's not very many. It seems impossible. If we had a scientist here, they could probably figure that out. Ugh. But I'm certainly not going to do
Stacey Tresenkos.
Orthodox. They asked the Orthodox.
They've got to be more traditional.
It was two people.
It was two people, and they disagreed with each other. So the Orthodox, they love them some Fox News.
Yeah, they do.
They watch 56% of the Orthodox watch Fox News, and 34% watch CNN, and 24% watch MSNBC. Did we get to the Muslims yet? Because I wanted to do the Muslims.
Let's do the Muslims.
Let's get to the Muslims.
First of all, I think the Muslims have their TV on all the time because they have a high number for everything, except for PBS. Even the Muslims who are apparently watching TV all the time, they don't care about PBS.
They do not care.
Except for
PBS.
Downton Abbey, they'll watch Downton Abbey, but they ain't watching the rest of that garbage.
I'm going to say that
ahead.
they're more CNN watchers.
Okay, they are more CNN watchers. That's true.
Yeah.
But they have really high numbers for both CNN and Fox. They have 60% have seen CNN and 47% have seen Fox. Like those are really high numbers for both of those. So apparently the most balanced news consumer in America is a Muslim dude. I don't know, or a Muslim chick. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Probably a man.
We got to hit the atheists and agnostics before we're done with this. Do you guys have any interest in atheists and agnostics?
Oh, I guarantee they're more CNN.
All right. Who You really? You think so?
Yes, absolutely.
The single lowest percentage given to any network other than PBS. The second lowest percentage given to any network, to any religious group in the United States was atheists watching Fox News.
Yep.
Only 16% of atheists watch Fox News. Why does that not surprise me at all?
Because relativism, that's why.
Is that it, or is it because Fox News is kind of openly religious? I mean,
Yeah, Fox News is definitely evangelical forward, I would say.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that checks out.
they do tend, like, I think Fox News actually must have an editorial policy that their hosts and whatnot are allowed to share their religious views. And they all write books that have religious themes. Like even if they're not, they're like, check out my new book, God is greater than the greatest greatness. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess I see where you're coming from,
And
Fox News anchor.
On the other hand, you have CNN that'll cut off somebody who's thanking Jesus for their great victory. Sorry, we lost all communication. Moving on.
It's a very different, right. It's like a total denial of religion in one place and then a very specific kind of religion in the other place.
Very specific type of Protestantism.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sells, you know?
I think it sells, and I also think people know religion is not weird. And they're sick of people acting like it's some weird ancillary to a healthy culture. Like, no, it's normal. Normal. So if the Fox News hosts, clearly they all have the same agent who tells them all to write the same book about religion. And they write that book, they probably make millions. But the basic thing is they're treating religion like a normal part of life. I got to say, I want to ask the two of you about how much cable news that you watch after this.
None.
But atheists...
You got to wait to answer, Erica.
Oh
Come
my
on.
gosh, could you just wait? I said I'm going to wait to ask you.
No, I have the worst patience in the world.
Okay. All right, 46% of atheists have seen CNN. This is the only group in which MSNBC is their highest thing. 48% have watched So MSNBC is the atheist network. The atheists love them. They hate Fox and they love MSNBC.
That doesn't surprise me. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me. It just, I don't know. Sometimes when a thing is so obvious, you almost expect, like, well, when we get the hard numbers, it's not going to be as bad as you think. Yeah, it is.
No,
it is. We're divided exactly as you would expect us to be divided, except for the Hindus.
MSNBC is so bad. Like, objectively, it's so bad.
MSNBC?
Yes.
It's so bad that even NBC got rid of it. Even NBC was like, we're going to let you go. We're going to have to let you go. Like, that's how bad it is. All right, how much Fox News, how much cable news do you watch? I'm going to go with none for you, Erica.
Interesting you would say that. I wouldn't really agree, but...
What about when our friend Emily was on? Remember when Emily was on Fox News? Did you see Emily?
Oh, I did watch that. I watched
So it's
that
not
clip.
zero.
Does that count? It wasn't cable news, though, because it was on YouTube.
Technically, it's cable news.
Yeah,
So
you were
the
watching
last
cable
time
news.
I
You were
watched,
polluted by watching cable news. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I did. Okay, so I grew up with my mom specifically. My dad doesn't really tune into much news, although we would listen to like Mike Huckabee on the drives to his office and stuff when I was little. But my mom would watch Fox News like while she's doing her workouts and like scream at the TV.
It gets the blood flowing.
I think that
Hillary Clinton. It's like the best thing to get you really like.
Sorry, but that is true. That is what she said. So no, I don't. I probably because of that I don't watch that much news. Although I did work for a conservative company, but I was consuming like more commentary, YouTube video style stuff, not.
How about you? How much cable news do you watch?
I don't watch cable news at all.
That's funny because I'm almost 62 and I don't watch cable news.
Really?
I can't stand it. It's so bad.
But
Here's my problem with cable news. I could open an internet page and read for 2 minutes and get all of the news, or I could spend an hour watching CNN or Fox.
But
it doesn't make any sense to me.
You do listen to something that is very popular in mainstream. NPR. You are an NPR guy.
Oh, I don't anymore. But
No.
I don't. I even
Is
Oh,
that-
NPR's kind of
Is
taking
that why you're a more
turn.
joyful person? Is
I
that
am
what's
a way
happening?
more joyful person. I used to listen to NPR just to get myself mad, but
Yeah,
I couldn't even take.
and it
But
got really bad post 2020. Like I used to listen to it
yeah, it's
2019, early 2020.
it's pointless
They
to
even
listen to it.
interviewed, like during when COVID first started coming to the US, they were interviewing people in Wuhan, and it was like very level-headed. And then all of a sudden, they like changed.
Yeah, maybe we all did. I don't. I mean, I don't.
Maybe we all did.
I just feel like as a product meant to engage, enlighten me as to what happened in the world today. There's nothing worse than television news. It's the most useful, unless there's a piece of video you
It's
want to watch.
volatile,
You know,
yeah.
unless something that happened that you need to see that video to understand what happened. You know, like Trump got shot in the ear. I don't know exactly what that means. Like I'm gonna have to see that. I don't want to just read that. But
Trump alleges that he was shot in the ear. People are skeptical.
Oh, people are skeptical now. Oh, now we don't believe that.
That's like one of the titles that you would hear in one of these.
Well,
some of these
yeah, but like
sites.
there was this thing today where they dropped these big bombs, and you're like, well, like they're talking about you could see it from space. I was like, I think I better look at this video because I'm not exactly sure how big is of an explosion you could see from space, and it was actually quite big. But so there's some things that they're just made for video. You want to see that. It's to really know what happened. But most stuff, it's a total waste of time to listen to anybody talking about it on television. They're just wasting your time.
I get all of my news from social media, Instagram, honestly.
Well, I'll tell you when I did watch cable news, when Hawaii got the terrible floods a couple weeks ago, I wanted to see like what and it looked bad. And that's when I think CNN and Fox News and even MSNBC are at their best. When they're reporting actual news that happened. Something happened. Let's show you the video. And sometimes, of course, even video is BS to some degree.
Oh yeah, you can chop and splice.
If it's a non-political thing like a rainstorm, that happened to Maui, I would like to see that. Now, of course, they'll turn it into something political, but. So that was the last time I watched news. Was I wanted to see what happened in Hawaii when it was drowning. But other than that,
I didn't even know that happened.
what a total waste of time. I'll tell you what I do though. I listen to business news in the car. I like CNBC and Fox Business, and I will listen to them. They're very different, but I'll listen to both of them. And I think it's because they're like, I know CNBC is more left leaning and Fox Business is more right leaning. Okay, I can filter all of that as long as neither of them is crazy. It's the craziness where I'm supposed to believe something that is physically not possible, that a boy could be a girl or something. When you're compelling me to believe the absolute impossible, I can't listen anymore. But I enjoy business news because I think like those reporters. They report. It's interesting stories about what happened. They got a real big turnaround in some company, and it's interesting to hear about how they did it, or some other companies going into the dumper and what happened? So I do listen to that. What do you consume as far as television?
News-wise or television?
Television or news, yeah.
Yeah, really not much. I mean, if I see things pop up, I like to go to multiple sources, that's for sure, and I'll like cross-reference if something crazy happens. But
yeah.
typically I don't anymore. I used to be so into news, and I used X a lot, like in the past when I worked at a conservative media company. But that's just depressing. So I think that my quality of life has increased since I stopped consuming media. And I don't think that I'm like unaware of major things happening, but yeah.
You don't have like a news aggregator that you check in the morning or something, or nothing like that.
No, everything has become so biased. I used to read The Skim, which is like a daily newsletter, and they send you, or maybe weekly, but they will send you just updates like in the U.S. and then global news, and that became partisan. Super left leaning. So I just kind of stopped.
Right.
I usually stick to Roca News. Have you ever heard of them? They're just an Instagram page, and they just started creating Yeah.
They tell you what's up, what happened, what's going on.
That's all they do, and
What's the 411?
And their whole thing is, being as unbiased as possible, and they try to present the full story. And it's good when conservatives accuse them of being liberal and liberals accuse them of being conservatives.
Yeah.
It's kind
Well,
of
yeah.
Well, you can't really be both.
yeah. So I mean, they have a lot of good stuff, and honestly, there's too much to keep up with. So they'll do like a collaboration of stuff for the week, and it'll be an image of a topic, and it'll be multiple, like, just bullet points about what that thing is. So the whole Iran thing, just a quick breakdown of what's happening there, and then the next piece of news is going to be something about Elon Musk, and the next thing is going to be, it's like just a little bit of everything, and just a snapshot. And I don't want to dive too deep unless, if I do, then just go look it up.
I am again. I'll go back to this graphsabout.religion.com. I like these graphs that this guy Ryan Berg makes, and like this is another one where you go, well, I mean, some of the things that we think are happening, and there's a tremendous religious divide in the country. Black Protestants are every bit as much Christians as white evangelicals, but they ain't watching the same news. I mean, it's not there's probably a 20% overlap, but they're not watching the same news. And so, where you go to church matters, or whether you go to church matters when you look at the atheists and their
and the culture that you're brought up into really affects it too.
Yeah. Yeah. So they also check out Graphs About Religion if you want to know this one. I actually wanted to ask you about something because it's Holy Week, Erica.
It is.
And how long have you been Catholic? What Holy Week is this for you? Holy Week number?
So this is going to be my third Holy Week as a Catholic.
And are you getting better as a Catholic? You feel like you're improving?
It's a daily battle.
So you were.
I mean, that's the hope and prayer, but still humans. So,
that's good.
Yeah, Holy Week is my favorite time of year.
It is.
It is, and it was not. So, well, it used to not be. I used to just really dislike Lent in general, like growing up Protestant. And then like my first.
So you grew up Protestant, but you had to.
Yeah.
But you did Lent. Were you like a Lutheran or something?
Not until I was a little older, and then primarily the year leading, or the several months like leading up to my confirmation. So the Lent going into the church, like leading up to the Easter that I entered, I did not like Lent. It was really difficult for me. Now I love it, but although this year I was not that great at my penances. Anyway, I think the spiritual time is really forming. But
you weren't that good at your penances this year.
No.
How about you? Were you good at your penances this year?
No.
I didn't.
I think it's every year. Every year I fail miserably.
I think sometimes I'm like coming into the finish line and I'm like, I nailed Lent. I killed it. And this time I'm like, now Lent won. I lost.
Correction. My penance was good, but my prayer was horrible.
Oh.
So increasing in prayer was not the best for me this year.
Yeah.
Which I think...
No, that's a really good point, because 2 years ago, so it was my first Lent as a confirmed Catholic. I was going to adoration at least once a week. I had like an adoration chapel slot that I had to go to. And I just was like, honestly, God, I hate Lent. Like, just please help me with this. And going to adoration at least once a week during Lent, like, changed. I mean, it generally just changed my life, but like it transformed my understanding of Lent and my desire to let go of certain worldly things, or like incorporate more prayer, or, whatever it might be. So that was the secret sauce. So next year
we'll remember that. Yeah.
I'll go to adoration. Yeah. But no, my first confession was, so this was like right before Holy Week. It really started me off on a bad foot. I went to this random parish that I like never went to before for mass or anything. And I was encouraged by the guy I was dating at the time to go to my first confession. And so I went there, and, I had my little examination of conscience booklet, and I underlined, because I wanted to be, concise and to
First
the
of all,
point.
never leave a written record of any of this stuff.
Oh,
You
I
don't.
ripped it apart. I threw it away. So I'm gonna burn
They should have a
this.
place where you could burn it. Yeah. Right. All right. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I underlined everything, and then I went in, and it was this. Really, I had heard he was very steadfast, very kind Nigerian priest. And it's face to face too. My first confession was face to face.
Bold.
So I'm crying. I'm reading through my booklet, and I told him at the beginning, this is my first confession. And I look up, and he looks over at me, and he goes, "Are you sick?" And I was like, "Whoa!" It was like "Are you gay?" You are gay. But
You know
worse,
You know who she's talking about. This is like one of your favorite things on the internet. Don't even act like it's not one of your favorite things on the internet.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, are you sick?
Yes, and then
What did that
kinda-
mean? Well,
And I was like, what? I don't know what you're saying. He's like, I think you should seek, therapy, etc. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't. A majority of the things I read, which this is also a problem of my catechesis, so I didn't understand what constitutes committing a mortal sin.
Okay.
So I did confess things that I didn't need to confess.
So he thought you were kind of like being scrupulous about
No. He thought I was like, so this gets worse. So he gives me my penance. I leave. I'm like, I feel horrible. Everyone's telling me confession is amazing. It's a gift.
Man.
And I feel awful. I'm like ruminating on everything that I ever did in my life. And then, I get counsel from friends and stuff. And then, so that was a Saturday that I went to confession. The next day I called my sponsor, told her my experience. And she was like, "Erica, I went to that parish this morning for mass, and I think he mentioned you in his homily." And I was like, "You're kidding."
That's not.
And he didn't say my name, of course, but he did say there was a young woman who came to confession, and that she was pretty. And I was like, "Oh, thank you." But
Go on, Father.
and I was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter then." And then he said, "And I think she might be possessed." And I was
Wow.
like, okay, so I've already been spiraling mentally. This just added insult to injury. So, so basically from then on until Easter Vigil, I was like, am I going to have a demon manifest in me when I receive the Eucharist for the first time? Like, this is terrifying. But yeah, so my first Holy Week I was in the trenches. But that also made for an incredibly sanctifying, beautiful, uniting First Communion experience.
Can I just I was want to. I'm going to let you do that. But this is what we do say this on the radio show this week, and we'll say it again today. We said it yesterday. You gotta pray for the people who are in their last week,
Yes,
because the devil has incredible weird tricks that he plays on people. He just hates that people are coming to the Lord, and I know that sometimes there's our natural anxieties, but there's also this supernatural, obnoxious attack that happens to people as they're getting closer. I've walked that walk with my own wife, who came into the church maybe 20 years ago, and it's an attack. It's a real attack that happens to a lot of people. So I'm very sorry that happened to you. Do you think that did you think that the priest did not understand entirely that this was your first confession, or?
I don't think he did. And what's funny is that, so I prayed for him and myself to forgive him because I was like angry at this priest. And then I saw him about a year later at a parish event that I went to this parish because the young adults had like a choir thing. So I was in the choir, sang at that parish, even though I'd never attended there before. And afterward, he came up and smiled and hugged me, and he goes, "How are your parents?" And I was like, "Oh, they're good." He's like, "Yeah, so aren't they Catholic now?" And I was like, "Oh, I think you might be confusing me with someone else." And he's like, "Oh, have I met you before?" And I was like, "I think so." So it was a
Not
really
that you can
good
talk about,
redeeming
Father.
moment. Yeah. It's like, well, we did. And
Okay.
kind of made, no, but,
So
that
you're
was
in a
good.
state of anguish in that last week
Yes.
coming into the church.
Yes.
You're in a state of
Yes.
anguish because you had this horrible experience, and now you've lost your confidence about your own spiritual health. You're like,
Yeah, essentially.
do I have a
Yeah.
demon?
Essentially, yes.
Okay,
But
I'm sorry.
by God's grace, I continued to pray and contemplate, receiving him for the first time. And my big thing was like, how do I receive you in the most reverent way possible? And this kind of ties into, I don't want to talk too much, but this does kind of tie into like why I started veiling too, because I didn't know anything about veiling prior. My sister did, still didn't know anything about it. I was like, you're weird. Like, I don't know why you're doing that. That's too much. And then after this whole thing happened, I'm like asking the Lord, okay, how can I receive you in the most reverent way possible? And he said, be my bride. And I felt like he said that so clearly to me. And I was like, okay, I guess that means I need a veil. My sister came for my confirmation and she brought me a veil, not knowing.
Wow.
So that was incredible. And then the way also that I received him, I received Christ on the tongue, which prior, this was like several months prior. I think I don't even think I was in RCA at this point. So it was probably summer the year before. I went up for a blessing, did not know that extraordinary ministers can't give you a blessing.
Oh.
That's like how behind I was in, understanding of that and priestly authority. But
You were the
I
worst
walked
Catholic for
up.
a while there. You were the worst.
Yeah, I know.
Every time you came for something, it was a problem.
Probably better catechized than your generation, Si. Let's be honest.
Oh
now.
yeah, well,
Yeah, well, yeah, we can talk about that whole thing another time.
Okay.
But so I went up, I crossed my arms, and this Knight of Columbus just held the Eucharist like in front of my face. Jesus was like right here. And I just heard the Lord say, never touch me. Like, and I understood, never touch him with my hands. Again, never knew about receiving on the tongue or the hand, because I never like really watched people do that, nor did I. I think my understanding of Christ being fully present in the Eucharist was also not fully formed at that point. So when I saw people receive on the tongue or the hand, I didn't think too much about it.
yeah.
So anyway, all of those experiences and like just the moments leading up to my confirmation, it was so reassuring, and the Lord was near me. And my confirmation saint, Saint Ignatius of Loyola, was like, his resources were incredibly helpful with like discernment of spirits or spiritual discernment. Yeah, discernment of spirits, and the spiritual exercises were super, super helpful after I had that horrible first confession. So, but yeah, now I love Holy Week.
Well, were you worried to go to confession again? After
Oh
that?
yeah, for sure.
And so,
for sure.
were you able to tell the second priest, like, this is my second confession? They've all been bad so far. So
No, I didn't. I just hoped that I would. So I went to my parish, and I knew my priests pretty well and their temperaments, and so I wasn't too concerned, especially with what I confessed. I was like, this is not major. And so I think it was mortal sin. I think it was venial. So, and then after that, I sought spiritual direction, and I told my priest. And so he comforted me, and he was like, yeah, that's not okay. That shouldn't have happened. So getting that reassurance was helpful, but yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's my duty to help people entering the church to be like, if you feel worse after your first confession, it's okay. That's not uncommon.
Well, sometimes
going.
God does give us those things, or at least allow those things, so that we have a compassion that otherwise we wouldn't have, or we can be helpful in ways we otherwise couldn't be. I've had bad confessions where priests where I was like, that's not good. What happened? Have you had that?
Yeah.
I've actually stopped going to certain parishes because of that. Because even as a practicing Catholic, who you're not going to leave the church especially after one bad confession, but you walk out of the confessional. At least for me, the one experience that I'm thinking about and saying, I don't even feel worthy to even sit in this church as mass is going on, and it makes you just kind of want to retreat and fall into despair.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, and
that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's
that is
what Pope Francis was talking about when he said, "Don't make the confessional a torture chamber."
Yeah.
I have had a priest too at one point say, "Can you speak up?" I was like, oh.
Oh, the worst is when I used to go to this parish where it was the boxes and the other person's on the other side, and then the priest's in the middle, and then you're in this box over here, and I had to put my hands like this.
Oh gosh, I have never experienced
because
that.
I was
we just
like,
had a curtain.
Because sometimes the person would be very quiet, but you could always hear that there was a conversation going on, but you couldn't make it out. And then, there's like a little door that closes, but if someone was talking like this, like just a normal, like Father, I did this and I did this, and I'd be like, oh my Lord, I can't hear this. And I would just,
Yeah,
you've
start
done that,
to
John, where you just
sympathize
had to
with
cover
Martin
your ears.
Luther.
And
Yeah, for sure.
that's horrible. Like, I feel like that's the most basic design flaw. Like,
Yeah, well,
fix
'cause then
that.
you're bound to the seal of the confessional all of a sudden.
I'm not a priest. I don't want to hear anybody's. I mean, if somebody,
Exactly.
like, people can confess their sins to me as my friends, or like like I have my friend Deacon John. We go to brunch together. We do talk about our struggles and our sins and all that, and that's fine. But I don't want to hear somebody's confession. I don't want to
I
hear
would
that.
become a shell of a person.
Yeah.
I would like lose my hair. It would be so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in the confessional line, and you can start hearing mumblings, and I'm just like, I'm helping you here, protecting you.
Oh, and sometimes they do the thing like there's another parish that I've gone to where they do the priests are just out in the open. And so that it's like a priest here and a priest there. And I get it. It's safe for everybody. It's and all that. But the people creep the line up closer and closer and closer.
They do, and then some of the priests are like really old and loud. Like they don't realize how loud they're
and so the
being,
priest
and
that goes, could you speak
I
up?
think you should probably, focus on that.
You shouldn't have hit the body there. You know?
Right.
Father, please keep it down.
Gone to the police about this yet?
Yeah. And so when the priest says, can you speak up? A lot of times I feel like, actually, no, Father, I can't because this is just for you. And if you ain't getting it, too bad, Father. I'm getting it out. Yeah. There's no rule that says it has to go in. It's just got to get out.
One of my worst experiences, I try to be conscious about all the people behind me, so I try to be quick. Yeah. And I remember I just went through the list and I said, forgive these sins and all of my others. And the priest stopped and he looked at me and said, is this a confession or a car wash? Are you even?
That's wrong. He should not do that.
Yeah, and then he proceeded to say.
Wrong.
He proceeded to say, "Are you even repentant of your sins?"
No. Yeah. Do you see the line behind me, Father?
No.
I'm being considerate of that line behind me. Like you're supposed.
So weird.
Like I feel like I am a very good. I'm a very bad sinner, but I'm a very good confessor because I learned from the nuns very early, number and kind. And if there's other information that is necessary for the priest to understand what happened, give them that information. Other than that, number and kind. And God bless those nuns because I don't think most Catholics know how to make a confession. And when a priest says something like that, I think you should just say right back to him, Father, I'm going quickly because it's Saturday morning and there's 30 people behind me. This has nothing to do with whether I'm repentant or not. And that's a lousy thing to say. Is this a car wash?
Yeah.
Man. But then you just are reminded of their humanity.
They're human. Yeah.
It's,
they're human.
Yeah, they're human and you just avoid them when you walk around.
What's that?
You just avoid them when you walk around. This happened to me on campus when I was in college.
But I've also had priests who are absolutely beautiful and just beautiful. And I know a lot of priests, and I've had priest friends who have told me when they made a mistake in the confessional, when they hurt someone's feelings. They didn't tell me what they said. I'm not privy to that. But I know that from the priest's perspective, sometimes they come out and go, man, I was in a bad mood today, or I should not have treated that person that way.
Sometimes they need a Snickers.
And sometimes you need a Snickers. And
Erica, you had mentioned, about your first confessional with the Nigerian priest. I don't know if you know, there's a meme that I just saw, and it says, when you go to confession and it's the Nigerian priest and the person is dancing on the way in, because they are, in general, in America, known to be some of the best confessors.
I have found that with African priests. Yeah. I don't know if they're from Nigeria or not.
So joyful and so loving. It's like, I just met Jesus, and this is great. And I didn't realize Jesus had a Nigerian accent, and I love it. So yeah.
I am so happy for them.
You're so, that's
not my experience.
But weird stuff happens, and God put us in the hands of humans. He put us into each other's hands. And so that means the church is not always going to minister perfectly, and it is one of the things you have to toughen up about. You can't be weak about. Like how you did not when you tell that story, you don't come across as a needy person, but a needy person might get that and they might never come back because they didn't get their needs met. And sometimes you got to go, it ain't always about meeting my needs, sometimes.
Right. Well, you got to know that. And this is for, all Catholics, but especially those who are entering the church. It's the Holy Spirit working through the priest to grant you absolution. It's not the Holy Spirit working through the priest to give you good advice.
No, right.
Sometimes that happens, sometimes some priests really do have that gift, but not all priests have that gift. So it's understanding what is the purpose of confession. Is it to have a priest tell you something that makes you feel better?
No, right.
You know-
yeah. That's what I feel.
Unfortunately,
When I've
yeah.
and sometimes on those occasions where I thought the priest was weird or there was something deficient in the way that he celebrated that sacrament with me, not deficient in the sense of the theological sense, but in the interpersonal social sense. I still know my sins are forgiven by Jesus, and I'm okay, and I'm grateful for it.
You know who gave me the best advice that to this day I've never forgotten is actually Dr. John Bergsma. We were talking about the sacraments, and he was saying, there's a reason why God doesn't allow you to feel all this, the bubbly feelings inside every time you receive Jesus or when you go to confession, is because then human nature would immediately start
Seeking
the feeling instead of seeking the actual sacrament. So when I walk out of confession and I don't feel that joyful spirit, I'm okay with that. And it's like, all right, I know the reality that has just happened, and that's what I take joy in, not in the joy of the feeling.
Wow.
When you get it, it's fantastic, but it's okay if you don't.
Right. That's a very good point. John Bergsma is such a brilliant man.
Yeah.
He's one of my
he's incredible.
favorites. I absolutely love him.
Yeah.
His book on Jesus and the Dead Sea Scrolls, everybody should read it. It's just so good.
If it's for somebody who doesn't, if you don't understand Scripture, his
He understands Scripture.
Bible Basics for Catholics is a game changer. 'Cause
Let's
it's
talk
so
about all the
simple.
Scripture people that John Bergsma is better than. Okay, let's start listing Scripture, famous Scripture people, apologists, evangelists, that John Bergsma is better
I'm going to
than.
go ahead and
let's
let you
hurt
start.
some feelings.
Go for it. You start.
Are you gonna?
You go first, Si.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But he really is good. He really is
that
good.
was my-
Yeah, well, so now you come to Holy Week for your third time as a Catholic.
Yes.
How's it going this week?
Well, I'm so eager for Holy Thursday and Good Friday. Well, I guess it's not a mass, but the service on Good Friday. I'm not going to be able to go to the Easter Vigil, which if you are able, please go. It is truly the solemnity of all solemnities, but I love the Holy Triduum. So that was something that I basically was in the church for every day for a week leading up to Easter when I first entered the church, and I loved it. It was amazing. But so I always get so excited when Holy Week comes around. So
It's fun. You loved it because you're close to Jesus.
Yes,
I think a
yes,
lot
and
of us who are like cradle Catholics, we didn't always love it. I can remember.
Especially when you're a kid.
Yeah, when you're
I
a
always
kid,
tell
it's a
everybody,
drag.
when I was a kid, I didn't want to go to church. I wanted to jump on the trampoline. That's just how I was. I kind of am still.
Well, that's because you had a demon, though. I think that's probably part of the reason.
Okay.
I think we got to wrap it up. What? Go ahead, say it again.
Too soon.
No,
Oh, too soon?
too
Oh,
soon.
I'm
Not
sorry.
one.
I'm sorry.
But to kiss the feet of Jesus on the crucifix,
I know.
mean the solemnness of it all it's so beautiful. Also, just watched The Passion of Christ for the first time the other day. That
What?
has really given me more perspective. I was sick to my stomach, cried. It was incredibly done. But yeah, so
Can I give you a little detail about that
No.
movie that next time you watch it, it'll open your eyes a little bit more. Watch John the Apostle. Watch him as because he's the only apostle who's walking with him.
right.
The actor did an incredible job at doing these little micro expressions as when he's listening to everything that's being done and said, he's connecting the dots with the prophecies that are being fulfilled. So you look at his face when
cool.
Jesus is on the cross, he's not in tears. He's like it's almost like he's in awe. So go back and watch him. So if
Well, that goes with John's
I did
gospel, where
notice
the
that. I was
cross
like,
is the
why
glory
isn't
of
this
the
guy
Lord.
crying?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's Check it out.
Friends, we got to wrap it up. God bless you, Erica. Thank you for
Thank you.
being so.
God
You're
bless
you're
you.
you're so open and honest and
Oh, thank you.
and
Hopefully I
good.
didn't trauma dump.
You what? Say it again.
You did, but it's okay.
Said hopefully I didn't trauma dump. Oh, I did.
Oh, that's
okay.
the thing. Trauma dumping is the thing. Trauma dump.
Well, I feel like if it's beneficial for some people, then maybe it's.
I think it will be. I think it will be. But have a blessed Holy Week and a happy Easter.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Peace.
Thank you.
Peace. All right, coming up
Bye.
next.
Coming up next.
We have Dr. Carlo Broussard. Why don't you think Catholicism makes sense? So if you have a question for him, go ahead and give him a call. 888-318-7884.